there everyone, a very good evening and welcome to the Money Show. And today we have a special show. We're talking about financial fraud, what you can do to prevent it, how you can take steps in order to protect yourself from the same. Sometimes they're just common mistakes as well. So today's show is dedicated to that. If you've got any questions pertaining particularly to that, dial into the number at the bottom of your screen, shoot us an email on themoneyshow@etnow.tv. Joining in on the show today, we have with us PV Subramanyam, CEO, Subramani.com. Great to have you with us on board. Now, let's get down to the basics and talk about the beginning, because as we were discussing, sometimes it's just basic steps that really need to be taken in order to ensure that you don't land yourself in a soup or in a financial fraud in this case. So what would be the absolute basics and how do you think frauds actually emerge with legal products as well?
See, all the products that we are dealing with have been approved by some regulator, either IRDA or RBI or SEBI or somebody. Then how come you can buy a product which is sanctioned by an authority and still end up dissatisfied with the product? You buy an inappropriate product. A product which is good for a 30-year-old is not something which should be bought by a 70-year-old. It's not appropriate for him. Maybe he doesn't need it. The problem is people don't ask enough questions. People don't even wonder whether it is appropriate. The salesman has to sell, that's his job, right? So if he comes and sells, you have to know what you're buying. If you don't know what you're buying, say no. People sign without reading what they are signing. People sign blank forms. This is people's fault. It's easy to say that I was sold a bad product, but what were you doing? You didn't even fill up the form. You asked somebody else to fill up the form, you didn't even see it, you just signed. These are the very basic grounds on which frauds get built.
Yeah, so say there is an instance where a person isn't very sure about what they're reading or doesn't really want to go through the fine print. There's nothing like that, right? You have to go through everything or read through everything or trust someone who does.
See, first of all, you need some very simple products. You need one term insurance, you need one maybe just an index fund, and that's all you need. You need one debit card, you need one credit card, you need one savings bank account. After that, you start saying no. If you don't understand, then you tell the guy who's come to sell to you that you'll talk to your son, your father, your mother, your husband, your wife, somebody in the family, some friend, some relative, somebody else, and then take a decision. There's no hurry to buy the product then and there. And a salesman will come and tell you, sir, 31st ko band ho raha hai, aaj already 28th hai, abhi check de do. Don't fall for it. Don't get hassled by people who are pushing a product to you. And after a particular age, I think it's easy to push people to buy products which they actually don't need. So be careful about what you're buying. Check up with somebody who knows the product. It's not that you won't know anybody who knows the product. Stop your ego hurting you, thinking, no, I can handle it myself. Largely people lose money because of overconfidence.
Okay, so we'll talk about the do's and don'ts as well and how to prevent this, but this just lays the foundation as to how one should really be careful and be more aware. And it's really quite simple. Okay, so we've got lots of queries as well, Mr. Subramanyam. In light of this, a lot of people have reached out to us, and I'm just telling our viewers that we have Mr. Subramanyam with us over the next 30 minutes. If you've got questions pertaining to financial fraud, if you've been duped, if you would just like basic advice on how to prevent it, please do reach out to us on the number that's at the bottom of your screens. Well, first up, Ankit Das has reached out. He says, an unknown person has deposited my bearer check. Can you suggest what to do? So don't know if it is by consent or what, but he wants to know what he should do in this situation.
If you've allowed somebody access to your signed bearer check, I don't think the bank can do much about it. How will the bank know to whom you gave the check? And if he has encashed it and gone, God save you. But if he has deposited in his check, maybe you should lodge a police complaint and then hope that the banker helps you. This is completely not the banker's responsibility. It is your responsibility to make sure that your signed checks are not given away to somebody. Or you gave it to him and asked him to do something else with it, then again it's a fraud, but it's very difficult to recover that money. But if that money can be traced to that person and you can prove that no consideration passed, he just accessed your bank account and deposited the check, you can get some justice, but I think it's a long drawn process. You will not get much justice from the bank. You will have to go through the criminal procedure, you will have to go to the police and try to get some justice, but taking care of your checkbook, taking care of your demat slips, especially signed ones, is completely your responsibility. You cannot blame anybody else.
Okay, so that would be a police case now, a police complaint that you would have to take on board, and remember to take more responsibility. Well, now we're taking on a query which, sort of borders on cybercrime and, fraud online that takes place. And Manoj Kedia has reached out to us. He says, I'm new to online banking. And what are the factors that I should be aware of? How often should I change my net banking password? And, we had a previous show as well on cybercrime, credit and debit card fraud. And it's alarming the number of cases that take place. But often I find, Mr. Subramanyam, that it is a lot in the hands of the person who is undertaking these transactions. Having said that, I don't say that I'm completely against it, but there's a lot that you can do to protect yourself. So,
absolutely.
Since he's new to this, what are the do's and don'ts?
Yeah, see, I'm assuming that you have more than one account. So it is only in one account that you have got access, internet access. Keep minimum balance in that account. Keep the other account with more balance and keep minimum balance in this account till you get a hang of what you're doing. What will you use this for? Maybe making a payment for your credit cards, maybe making payment for some hotels, or maybe using your credit card and linking it to this account. This is what you're going to do. So keep a minimum balance, keep 20,000, 25,000 in this, and use your other bank account to transfer money to this account. The other account don't have net banking. Just issue a check from that account. So let's say 25,000 a month you transfer to this account and use this. How often should you change your password? Well, you should change your password maybe every 45 days, every 50 days, depending on how many transactions you do. If you do a lot of transactions, maybe you need to change your password more often, but if you don't do too many transactions, you need not worry too much. Net banking is very safe. You have to ensure that you are not sharing your password with anybody. Even if your wife SMSs you for the password, don't give it to her. Maybe her phone is lost and maybe the guy who has stolen her phone is SMSing you. So if your wife SMSs you for the password, pick up the phone, talk to her and see whether it is her or somebody else masquerading as your wife. Right? So be careful about those things. Don't leave your written password anywhere. Remember it and try and learn it.
Don't save it on your phone. A lot of people tend to do that. ICICI Bank net banking password. If someone gets a hold of your phone and your wallet, you're gone.
Absolutely. I mean, your phone itself is dangerous because they can even access your income tax and all those things with all your passwords. So be careful. So keep it separately, keep it at home and keep that account with the minimum balance. Keep 25,000 balance so that maximum you lose is 25,000. After you get a hang of it, you keep higher amounts. That's fine.
Yeah, and I want to, just reiterate the first thing that he said, that it is very safe when you're looking at online banking. A lot of people have the perception that, the minute you're getting onto the keyboard and doing a financial transaction, there's lots of myths about hacking and things like that, but there's lots of steps that you can take as well to protect yourself. Well, Mr. Subramanyam, with us over the next 15 minutes or so, we've got questions coming up on financial fraud and how you can stay protected. Expert advice. If you have any questions, dial in. Back to the Money Show. We're with B.V. Subramanyam of Subramani talking about financial frauds, how you can protect yourself, and just some of the basic steps that you need to take to make sure that you are not a victim. We've got a whole host of viewer queries, and if you have any questions, please do reach out to us. There's a number at the bottom of your screens. Well, we've got an email query from Sheetal. She says, how does making a claim on my insurance affect my insurance history? And I find that we do get quite a few queries regarding this.
See, if you're talking about your car insurance or you're talking about your health insurance, obviously they're having a look at you and saying, oh, this person comes very regularly. So can I deny her insurance, or should I increase the premium, or should I say I will not increase the amount of insurance you have? So if you have a 2 lakh rupee medical insurance and you're regularly making claims, chances are when you try to increase that from 2 lakhs to 4 lakhs, they'll deny it, but they cannot increase your premium just because you made a claim. The law, the IRDA does not allow you to do that, but yes, they do look at you and say, oh, here is a person who keeps repeated claims and therefore the insurance premium could either be increased, or they would just deny when you want to increase this. Yes, it does impact. So there is nothing you can do, because ultimately insurance is about a profitable business, right? So if I have insured you for an X amount, I don't want to pay too much as claims. The more claims I pay, the more the premium has to go up for everybody. So obviously people who make claims are not looked at very happily, and one chance they get, 1 month you forget, 1 year you forget to pay the premium or something like that, they will never let you restart that policy. So you have to be very careful, especially if you're making claims on your policies.
Okay, that's the word coming in. Let's get on board our next query from Anand. He says, I attended a seminar for investing in bitcoins, but have read a lot about scams on investing in non-existent virtual currencies that actually promise huge returns after a certain lock-in period. So what should I be wary of if I want to invest in bitcoins? And is your first word of advice, do not invest in bitcoins, Mr. Subramanyam?
Yeah, I mean, there is no right way of doing a wrong thing. Look, in a country where bank you have problems, mutual funds you have problems, insurance you have problems, all these have regulators, established regulators. I mean, even the IRDA regulation is about 15, 18 years old. With all this in place, if you are having problems getting your money out, why would you go and put money in bitcoins? What is bitcoins? It's difficult to understand. Will you be able to sit and explain to your wife and children what you have invested, why you have invested, or are you just looking at the past 6 months and saying, wow, this has done very well? That's also not true, because the last couple of months it's not done well. So I think if you are a normal middle class person, stay away from bitcoins. It's not a very sensible thing for you to do. Just stay away. It's not going to make you too much money, so just stay away.
Okay, it's a risky business. There's no right way to do the wrong thing, as Mr. Subramanyam rightly put it. Well, let's get on board our next email query, and this is with respect to the insurance sector. Ram says, I have been paying insurance premium for my car since the last 3 years. I had an accident, after which I paid for my repairs on my own on the advice of my friend, since the damage was not huge. So I want to know, when should one claim insurance and when should one skip? And this question yet again does continue to recur with respect to insurance for the car. What exactly is there? Is there some sort of a thumb rule?
See, there is 5% of no claim bonus which you keep getting every year, but sometimes they just say that claim is no longer available. The no claim bonus is no longer available. So you could do that. I mean, whenever you make a claim, there is a chance that there is a red mark against you, and so the next time you go, there is no extra bonus or anything available to you. So what you do is, if it's a smallish repair, don't keep reminding them that you exist and you made this claim. Now for 4 years, 5 years, 7 years, if you have never made a claim and you have a major claim, when you make that claim, the processing will be very fast. But if you keep on continuously making claims and they start suspecting whether you're trying to make a claim which is equal to the premium amount which people try, you could do that, or you could do something very simple. If your car is older, let's say 3, 4, 5 years old, then you just take a third party insurance, which means if there is an accident, that person will be covered. That is compulsory as per law, you need to have it. And don't take car insurance, just say it is self insured. Like for example, many of us have a mobile phone which is not insured. What we assume is, if the mobile phone is lost, we will get ourselves a new mobile phone. So you can have a car that is costing say 5 lakhs, and you say, if there is a damage, I will pay for it. Why pay 30,000 or 40,000 as annual premium? Because the value of your car is actually dropping. But since the car has become old, the premium is increasing. So just have a third party insurance. If there is an accident, that person will be compensated. Without that insurance, you cannot exist. I mean, you cannot drive the car without that. Just take that insurance. Don't insure your car if it is more than 4, 5 years old. Call it self insurance.
Okay, that's the call coming in, and we have Vijay with us on the phone line. He's got a question. Hi Vijay, welcome to the Money Show. What's your query?
Thank you. Achha. Sir, my question is, you just now said if a person has 5, 6 bank accounts, only for one of the bank accounts he should have net banking and keep a small balance of 20, 25,000.
Yes, so what's your question?
This is based on what he said. Now I'm coming to my question.
Sure.
Achha. Hello?
Yes sir, go ahead.
Now, if a person has 5, 6 accounts and only for one account he has net banking, other 4, 5 accounts he doesn't operate that often, there are fixed deposits, he doesn't go to the bank that frequently, are those accounts safe? Second part I would like to say is, every account has a net banking provision given by the bank. Your user ID is the same as your customer ID. And you can generate a debit password with the help of your debit card. So if you are not using net banking and you don't go to the bank for 4, 5 years, you don't need that account. You have only fixed deposit. Is that account safe? I think with net banking you can check your accounts balances at home and your banking is more safe.
Okay,
Yes,
we'll get your questions answered.
Okay. I don't see any reason why a person should have 5-6 bank accounts just to have bank deposits in different places. I can understand once upon a time that all made sense because people were trying to avoid TDS and things like that. But please remember, every deposit of yours is now traced to your PAN or tracked to your PAN. So you can't really avoid tax or do things like that by having many bank accounts. So bring all the bank accounts to one or two. There is no great justification. Yes, I agree, if there is a pension account where you cannot make your wife a second holder, can only keep her as a nominee or things like that, yes, you need to have one account like that, but other than that, one or two accounts is enough. Secondly, you need not do transactions. You can have a password by which you just check the balance. Don't do transactions. You have a transaction password which could be different. Don't do the transaction. Just look at your account and that's fine enough. Or thirdly, you can use telephone banking. Just call up the bank and ask for what is the position, and ask for email statements. You will get an email statement every month, and that's good enough. If you're not doing many transactions, why do you need so many bank accounts? And if you don't visit a bank for 4-5 years, believe me, your account would be dormant. So you will need to do something. You may have to do a 100 rupee or a 200 rupee recurring deposit, if nothing, just to keep that account active. Why would you have 6 bank accounts and run from bank to bank? I mean, 1 or 2 bank accounts should be sufficient. I don't understand the logic of having so many accounts. Don't have too many bank accounts, too many passwords, and then you will forget the password. And if something actually happens, you may not be able to track what's happening. And for every place, if you have given different mobile numbers, you may not get enough intimation. So check your monthly statements, and believe me, 2 bank accounts should be enough for most people. I mean, there has to be a very great reason to have the third bank account.
Okay, so that's a complete different view coming in terms of the number of bank accounts that you must have online. I hope, sir, that we were able to answer your question for you. Next up, we've got Jimmy Master, who's reached out on Facebook. He says, I once read about someone getting debit card details of a customer at an ATM. I regularly withdraw from ATMs, like I'm sure a lot of us do. How can I prevent that, and what are the types of ATM frauds that I should be aware of? Now, we're talking a whole different ball game when it comes to going to the ATM. And yes, I know that there's a lot of steps that customers themselves can take in order to prevent this, right?
Yeah, largely go to a bank ATM which is attached to a branch. There is a good chance that there will always be a guard in attendance, so you know that some fraud cannot happen. Nobody is hanging around there and trying to watch what numbers you're punching. Hide the numbers, stand in such a way that nobody sees your fingers move and make sure that you pick your card immediately. As soon as you put your card, you take it and put it in your pocket. There are many people who leave behind ATM cards in the machine. Don't be so vulnerable. Other than that, I think ATM banking is pretty safe. You don't need to worry too much about it, and keep changing your password maybe every 6 months, 8 months. I mean, even if you don't change it for a long period of time, it's okay. I don't see too many ATM frauds happening unless you willfully give away your ATM to somebody, even to your children, etc. Share the passwords. Don't do that. If your children want money, once in a while it's okay, but otherwise best is to go to the ATM, withdraw, and make it a habit to withdraw only from a ATM close to your house or near a branch or things like that. If it's a place which is very isolated and you don't see anybody, make sure that there are no hidden cameras, etc. If you're far away and you're withdrawing, make sure there are no hidden cameras trying to get the number, and make sure there is nothing, no plastic sticking into the place where you put your debit card, because somebody could be reading your card. But those frauds are really very rare and not happening, and even if such frauds happen, RBI is there to protect you. So those kind of frauds the bank has to worry about. You have to just worry that you don't give your ATM password to people, you don't share your ATM card with few family members.
If I may come in here, I think the only reason also people get perturbed is, you read a headline in the paper one day saying, oh, it's been fudged, and you think, oh, I go to the ATM so often, this could happen to me. But say, God forbid, there is some case and there is, some very fancy technology that's used to get your PIN after you've left or some such thing. The bank will compensate, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. It is completely technology related. Fraud is completely the bank's responsibility. But if you left your ATM card in the machine and somebody else then picked up, and then those things, don't expect the bank to step in.
Got it.
You need to be careful yourself.
Okay. Harsh is with us on the phone line from New Delhi. Welcome to the show. Harsh, what's your question?
Hi, my question is very simple. I visit a lot of hotels and I have seen, while paying through credit cards,
right,
I've seen the receptionist noting down the card details into their system. I just want to know if this practice is safe, because I've been told that the system does not show the numbers. However, if the fraud has to take place, they can monitor it and note down the number and details.
Yeah, a lot of the time they take
So
a
there are
Xerox as well of
safeguards
your card. So what should one be aware of there?
Yeah, I mean, you have to just pray. You can't do anything because the minute they have your CVV number and the car and your card number, they can actually go shopping anywhere and do whatever you want. My way to look at it is very simple. Keep two credit cards. Keep one with a very small balance, say 50,000 rupees or 60,000 rupees, and use it extensively. Because what you can lose is maximum. Suppose your limit is 60,000 and you have used it for 30,000, the maximum you can lose is about 30,000. Keep another card with a limit of say 5 lakhs, but keep it at home, don't use it much, and use it only for an emergency. You need somebody to be admitted into a hospital and you need 2.5 lakhs limit, you use that card. Don't use that card very extensively. So use the smaller card. Yes, you run the risk, but the minute you give your card to anybody for them to swipe, there is no reason that the person should look at the CVV number. But CVV number is a very small number. It is easy for them to remember. It is easy for them to make a photocopy of your card and use it on some foreign websites and buy things. There is no way how you will know till the transaction has already happened. Yes, you have this risk. You should ask the bank, you should ask the hotel not to write down the number, but if they're making photocopies of the card, there is no way how you can stop them from doing that. Then God save you.
Okay, fine. So maybe just prevent them from doing that if they are. But that's all the advice that we have for you. I'm hoping that to all of the viewers who sent in their queries, we were able to help you out. We will continue to have special shows as well. Mr. Subramanyam, lovely as always to have you with us on the show. With that, it's a wrap. General personal finance queries, do reach out to us on The Money Show at etnow.tv.